everybody can feel. Right? Everybody can be aware of the energetic presence that one would call God or Allah or whatever anybody calls it. A million names for something that the mind really has no right to even speak about. Right? Because it ultimately makes it out to be an authority figure. It ultimately makes it out to be a savior. It ultimately makes it out to be a reason for us to not be present. You ever notice that? That's what the mind does with the eternal, the sacred, and the infinite. It turns it into a reason for us to not be present. What a joke. How mean. When we find out who's flying that drone, he's in big trouble. Because everybody's going to his house with pitchforks and torches and burn him out of his house. How rude is that? That you create basically a massive construction within the mind and people get lost in it. If that's not stripping your dignity away enough, on top of that, they give you salvation. The salvation they give you is for the mind, which means another reason to not be present, where life actually is. But there is not actually a barrier there. It's not like something you must overcome. It's not Armageddon. It's not like, okay, there's the demons. Heaven's on the other side of them. Come on, team, let's go. You know, it's not a scene in Braveheart. It's not Lord of the Rings. There's nothing actually there. It's in you. If the mind can stimulate you to a hellish feeling, fear, and its million faces, if that can happen, you're losing. If that's happening to you, you are losing. It's not good. The soul, the being, it's always been about that. It's always been about that. It's always been about that. Right? Music is probably the closest thing to a sacred job that actually exists on this planet. To a real one, because it's an expression. It's coming from right out of now. It's not tinted with all this verbiage. Right? It's just there. It's saying something, but it's not saying something in a mental context. It's saying something outside of that. That's why music has impacted more people than religion has. John Lennon said at one time, we're more famous than Jesus. And everybody say, oh, that's so wrong. Well, no, not really. In a lot of ways they were. There was more attention on them than there probably was on the actual teachings of Jesus. But the mind did this. It said, give them a savior to make them not fight for their own being. It's the being they care about. As long as they have your life force streaming in the direction that it wants it, you'll go about your life and it's going to leave you alone. But the minute you try to claim your identity, who you actually are in the universe, what you actually are, no, they don't like you doing that. That mind does not like you doing that. As long as you're submitting to all of its bullshit, and you are taking all of its bullshit as the gospel, you live a life pretty low stress. You know, there's stress there, but it's not overwhelming. People can actually hold it together. That won't last. We're seeing that more and more people are becoming on the wrong side, or in their own perception, they're not where they want to be. More and more people are feeling this. They're not where they want So, I don't know how many other ways I could put it. That mind is dangerous. It's not even yours. It doesn't, when it thinks about you, it rarely does it like you. Rarely is it saying anything nice about you. I mean, it's like we're going to give all of our power to our enemy. Because as long as that mind is functioning, there's not enough life force to power the being's mind, which is expression. It expresses its well-being. That's what it does. Right? And the fact that other people can be affected by that, coming from a person, is because the well-being is real. It's not an image. It's not something you're looking at that when you look behind it, there's nothing actually there. So when the true mind is arrived at, you express well-being. And what is well-being? It's an energetic presence that anybody else seeking well-being will notice. And those that aren't, won't. And it's no problem. Those that have to, do. Those that don't have to, might. And those that won't, don't. And everything flows fine. But the only way to get to that point for yourself is you got to get past that ego mind. It's not yours anyway. Trust me, it's not yours. I mean, it thinks things that you're wondering, well, where did that come from? Was I thinking that? It even makes you, it makes you question your being. Makes you question your own awareness. How ridiculous. It makes you question your own presence. I can't say it makes you. It entices you to. Right? Because what is it going to do? It's going to slow down to where you kind of feel a little drowsy. We call that relaxed and comfortable. When is life relaxed and comfortable? Does the sun ever relax? Is a tree ever comfortable? What does that mean? I know they're at rest. I've seen them at rest. I've seen a tree at rest. I've seen the sun at rest. Not really. It's still spinning. But it kind of calms down every once in a while. Rests. Before it starts spitting shit across the universe. Solar storms and, goes on its own rampage. Right? But it's always right there. We have this tendency to be right there for the time that we're going to be, say, in a place like this. When we walk out the door, back into the muck, everything starts getting thick again. Right? We realign ourselves with our mind's purpose, and we wonder why we aren't progressing. Why we aren't feeling like we have gotten anywhere. So there it is. The present is something that you have to fight like hell to maintain. It's a war. Absolutely, it's a war. But it's one that, when you win it, it's joy. So really, there's no casualties. You have to fight to be in the present moment.